All right. So we've got our 16 divisions to our pie chart. We're very happy with that. So I'm just going to close this guy out and go back to my direct select tool. Hit the V. And as you see, it's grouped. Why is it grouped? Well, because if I right-click and I want to explode, my normal explode isn't there because it's not really a group necessarily. It's a lot more intelligent than that. It's still being related back to the chart tool. So actually to explode this thing, you have to expand it, which is under Object. And you hit Expand. When I do that, it's going to tell me, well, it should tell me, it should get angry at me. Object, Expand. I wanted to isolate. Object, ungroup. Oh yes, okay, so you have to expand it and then you have to ungroup it. And so when you go to do the ungroup, it says, wait a second, the selection contains a graph. After a graph is ungrouped, you'll no longer be able to access all the information. So now all it is a shape. So anything you do to it is going to be destructive. That is to say, if you're going to transform it, I highly recommend using the Shift command so it grows and gets bigger and smaller at the same rate. Still, it is grouped one more time, and so we should be able to, this time, right-click and go ungroup. I don't know why before when you'd right-click it wouldn't give you the option to ungroup, but that is a little bit confusing. Anytime you're trying to expand something or explode it or whatever, always look under your object options since there are different ways that they define these different elements. Okay, so loving that, feeling good. Now what we want to do, excuse me, I need some water, is create, we need, how many circles did we need? We needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, because we have 8 different sort of degrees of importance. And so in this case, we're going to create a new layer, and I'm going to draw a circle. So any old circle, go over here to the marquee tool, grab the ellipse tool. I'm going to take the center, hold Shift Command or Shift Alt to make it expand, snap to the outside. Sweet, got a great circle. But I need concentric rows of this. Everybody knows any smarter way than what I'm about to do, then please tell me. But I'm going to go Command and then paste in place. Edit, paste in front. And by going copy and then paste in front, it put my object right immediately on top of itself, right? If I go paste, without doing paste in front, it goes to an odd place, okay? So I've got 2 there right now. I'm going to go paste in front one more time, and then I can go, I think it's Command D. Oh, shucks. How is it in Illustrator that you do the exact same thing you just did? It is Command D. For some reason, it's Command D is not working for me.
The last thing that you just did was so it is doing that.
Yeah, but I went, oh, maybe it didn't do the last thing. I tried to copy it and paste it again. So edit, paste in front. So there should be 2 there now. Command D. Anyway, well, life goes on. Luckily, we have a hotkey for paste in front, which is Command F. Didn't know that. So I can go, a lot of these, I'm going to twirl down my layer so I can just see how many I've got. I've got 3 so far. I need 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So now you all see there's lots of paths over there. Technically, what I would do now is look at my color guides and pull that off so I can actually make each one a different color because it's going to be a little bit annoying as I go through this and if they're all the same color because I can't make any distinctions between them. I guess they do. They all do have a stroke, so we can get away with not doing that. But as I make them all bigger and smaller, the best way to do that is just transform. So let's pick the first one on top so we can actually see the transform. Right-click, go Transform, Scale. It's going to give me the option to scale it. If you're not familiar with this command, it's really handy. The important thing to note is the options here, which is Scale, Strokes, and Effects, along with the others. But the strokes and effects only affects potentially if I had to fill in there a hatch or something like that. It'll make the hatch grow bigger or smaller. But I just want uniform scale, and I'm going to scale it down to 10%. Okay. Well, actually, I'm going to undo. I don't, because I think in the graphic, the center itself doesn't have anything. So we're going to assume 10% and 20% are nothing, and really the rings are going to start at 30%.
John,
Yes?
do you want to know the way other ways to do it? There's a polar grid tool.
Oh, yeah, the polar grid tool.
They'll make all the circles at once for you.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that one's right here. No.
It's in the line,
Where?
where the line is.
Right here?
Yep, it's the last one.
The polar grid tool. Lovely.
Polar red tool, y'all.
That's amazing.
Then you can explode it.
Fabulous. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. Just because.
Yeah, I didn't mean to throw you off.
No. It's kind of interesting. As we go through Photoshop and Illustrator, of course, there's like a bajillion great ways to do it. But what I found is because like 3 months in a row, I'll be in CAD and Rhino, and then I'll have to jump back into Photoshop. And whatever goofy, great trick I learned, I totally will kind of like have forgotten it, and I have to go back to the mainstream. And so a lot of what I'll teach in this class will be less about kind of crazy tricks. It'll be more about like the heavy lifting tools, you know. And so by all means, always bring up cool, random things like that. It's awesome. So transform, I'm going to go scale 30%. Next one's going to be 40%. You guys get the picture. 50. Normally I have a hotkey for this, but I think something went wrong. Yeah. Does it keep selecting? Okay, last one. Well, that's 100%, so I don't have to scale it. Okay, so we've got all of our layers in here, and so we're going to need to now use, this one's in the wrong spot. I drag that down a little further. Okay, so now we need to split it all up, which we use the Pathfinder tools for. So maybe the axial tool would be way better because it's already busted up for us. But I'm going to turn on my pie chart underneath of it and select everything in there. I'm going to select all of the paths, and then using, I believe it's the difference, was it divided? I go over to Pathfinder, and if anybody, I hope you guys all know the Pathfinder tools and how lovely and wonderful they are, the alignments, everything. We're going to look at this, in this case, divide. So we just want everything to divide itself up. Hit divide, and it creates a new group with everything divided. I'm going to just, while everything is perfectly selected, send that to a different layer. Just for the sake of not losing any information. It really doesn't matter, because actually what it did is it took all of the information, divided it all up, and didn't create any remnants. So different programs, like, I think the reason I did that is because like in Rhino, anytime you divide something, it kind of keeps the old guy and gives you the new ones. So in case you ever want to step back, you do need to make a copy of that. So right-click and ungroup, and now we should have all of our individual sections. We don't need the center, so I can delete those away. And now the rest of it, becomes, more or less something you can figure out. Created lines here.
Did you say that you did more than 8 rings? Or so the center.
So the 10% and the 20% we don't need. So that's why I did a 30% through 100%. And then those are what we care about, because we have 8 groups, so we should have 8 rings on the outside, ignoring the 10% and the 20%. So these will represent the gradient of the different options. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the way I organized the information, and I don't believe that the way that the original graph did this, maybe they did, but was in sort of hierarchy of expression, such that, see, in this case, they sort of bounce around to like 39th, 14th, 10th, as a way probably to make it all look kind of generalized. And this was probably on a website that went from Boston to Minneapolis, and so they wanted to hold a consistent graphic the entire time and then bounce it around. But in my graphic, I thought it would look really cool if you'd see this kind of crazy worm that would be growing up. And if it was just disparate pieces, it wouldn't be as cool. So this is more of a compositional element. Very important to think about these things. So went through, defined where my starting point was, and drew a line. Went in here, clicked there. Whoops. Using the pen tool. Actually, what I'll do is create a new layer and lock the other layer, so I'm not having to worry about accidentally doing something. Click there. Make sure that has a stroke, which it does. I use my white arrow, drag it out, perfectly in line. Bam, I have a cool line. I'm going to just step it up a notch and add a little circle at the end, give it some emphasis. Beef up the line a little bit, but not too much. I hate heavy line weights. Then went through the process of dragging this all the way around perfectly. Get all those guys in there. Then created something that seems like the most mundane and annoying thing in the world, but a key. So such that I had titles. Well, let me turn on my complete. Okay. Now these are going to be very annoying, but the more sort of regimented you are about creating your keys, the better. Because something like setting up a number 1 in a circle that you can use over and over and over, and getting that font right, fitting so that it's not just the number 1 that's fitting in there, it's the number 10, etc. It's going to be really huge. In this case, these are ungrouped. You always want to group them because you can go into the group at any time. You don't have to worry about losing them. So I group them. But the other great thing about grouping allows you to, when I shrink this down to an appropriate size, select that group and then use my alignment tools to center it. That was the most, alignment tools in InDesign and Illustrator were the most essential thing in the world for creating a book like this. Because you need everything to line up. You need to have a legend on every darn page. And over here, I have different legend for this guy. And then when it goes through a PDF document, it's flipping and it's perfectly aligning to the next graphic. And it's perfectly aligning to the next graphic. And then you got to move these guys up here, and then you have to decide the justifications. Just really having a handle on how to quickly and easily use the alignment tools is absolutely essential. And so, as you can see, I'll just take that, obviously, create a nice grouping. You can use the alignment tools if they get out of align, out of whack, to put them back together. But then one more step of grouping, now that they're all good, and dragging them over. Taking your awesome color palette that you've picked, applying those colors, and bam, you're done. So any other questions? Any questions about the diagramming tool? Explore it, learn to love it, try to use it in ways that you never thought you would. Yeah?
With the Pathfinder divide thing, can you do that with raster images or something? Like chop an image up?
In Illustrator?
Oh, what you could do, Aaron,
You
is
click.
you can Pathfinder it, and then you could mask it. Look at mask with that shape. So then you bring in your image and you drop it on another layer, and then you have the shape that you
Right, but
Pathfinder, and then you drop it, and then you
But
mask
if I
it.
wanted a pie chart of an image and then I wanted to be able to take each of the parts and create 4 keys.
Yeah, you can do, so actually specifically using the divide tool to do that? I doubt it. I think you'd have to create your 6 individual things. But what you can do, I think depending on how you've layered them, if say it's 6 equal divisions, and then you have your one image over there, if you created 6 duplicate images, I think if you selected in the order of like 6 and then 6, and then hit create clipping mask, it might make 6 different clipping masks, but it'll just take you a couple extra minutes to go through and individually clip them all. So yeah, you can see how it really does have a lot of different applications with regards to creating different things. You know, even sometimes for organizational sake, like if you want to create odd divisions and you just want to create a bar graph that you know is going to be perfect, works well. If you're creating a scale and you want the scale to be 5 feet, you know, like this graphic scale that's 5 feet, 10 feet, 30 feet, 100 feet, you know, you can create a bar graph at something like that. So. All right. Let's see what we got next.